Am I the a-hole for suggesting that my parents move out of the house? I am the oldest of my parents' 8 children, all 3 to 16 years old while I am 23. My biological father died 2 months after I was born, and my stepfather has been present in my life since I was 3 years old. The house I currently live in belonged to my paternal grandfather when he died, as he had no wife and children as my biological father was an only child, made me the only heir of his estate. He passed away when I was 15. As the house was quite big, 7 bed, 4 baths, my parents talked to me about our family moving there as it would be cheaper and could accommodate everyone. The only thing I wanted was the master suite for myself, and it actually became a bedroom. Currently, my mother is 6 months pregnant. Again. I work and earn a good salary. I don't pay the house bills, though I help with the groceries. This month, I started having complaints from my parents saying that I should help more with my younger brothers. I always argue that I'm not their father, and that is their responsibility. And as they are so financially tight, started to charge me to pay some bills because they were not able to. And I started to pay some, though not as much as they wanted. I had my limits when they suggested I move into their room, as they would need space for the new baby and that since they pay most of the bills, they should have the biggest room. I told them they can pay most bills, but they don't pay a dime on a huge house that's only in my name. And if they want more space for their 9th child, I suggest they move to another house, because I am the owner of the house and I won't give up my comfort because they won't stop having children. They started calling me an ungrateful son, and that they raised me to be empathetic and kind, but I am showing myself to be a cold and extremely selfish person who threatens his own parents to kick them out of the house for not agreeing with the suggestion. I talked to my maternal grandmother, and she said that she understands my side but that I may have been very hard on them, especially since they were my parents. They're not talking to me now, by the way. Am I the a-hole? Edit. We're not in the US. Obviously, I'm not able to support the house on my own, but it's a great house for renting. And if I did that, I could rent a smaller house and live on that money alone. The fees are yearly here. My grandfather left a responsible accountant to pay that for me with some money left for this. So no, they don't put money in the house besides bills and anything that break. It's not forever, but my grandfather protected me financially until I at least had a capacity and maturity to do so. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They've got some nerve even asking that of you. It blows my mind when people pop out almost an entire football team's worth of kids and then make it other people's problem. Honestly, if you can't afford to keep having kids, stop having kids. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If your parents can't afford to house and feed their 9 children on their own, then they should stop having kids. Their demands are also presumptuous. They will soon take over the house. And what about if you want to get married and have kids of your own? I would sit down with them and establish a timeline of how they intend to manage their lives independent of you. And make it clear that you will not be financially responsible for them, nor will you parent your siblings or give up your bedroom. Really? If OP gets married, it's only fair for them to move into the home OP already owns. Not the a-hole. Their baby, their problem. I do think it's good for you to pay your share of groceries and utilities. Beyond that, nope. And you know it will just get worse. Soon they'll be bothering you for money to feed, clothe, and educate their kids. Put your foot down. You're already generously letting them stay rent-free. If they don't like the situation, they can leave. So no, you aren't an a-hole. Not at all. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting my sister-in-law and her kids to move out of my house? I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years now. And after 2 years of dating, we got our own place together, including my stepson who we have full-time. This was our first ever house we each have had without living with parents/family. My sister-in-law lived with her mom, stepdad, and her 4 kids. She's a single mother. They ended up losing the house because of financial reasons and pretty much had nowhere to go. So I told my partner that his sister and kids can stay with us until she gets her own place. One of her kids ended up staying with her grandmother. Anyway, so my sister-in-law and her 3 kids moved in with my partner, stepson, and I into our small 3-bedroom house. We made it accommodating so we could all live comfortably together. At first, we were pretty close and hung out a lot, but as time went by, we started drifting apart. I think it was because of the fact my sister-in-law just stayed home all day, didn't get a job, or even look for one, never helped out with the bills or rent, and would just go out on dates with random guys she met online all the time. My partner and I both work full-time jobs, and every day I would come home and the house was an absolute mess because of all the kids. They tried to clean it, but honestly, there was no point because it would just end up going back to being messy. And I was so sick of it. This went on for over a year. She still didn't have a job and was living here for free. I would tell my partner that she needs to move out, but as she is his big sister, he defended her, even though he was annoyed as well. She ended up getting a boyfriend and would let him stay over at our house with his 2 kids. That's a total of 9 people now in our 3-bedroom house. They would have fights in the house and even broke one of the bedroom doors. My partner and I were so ticked off at the lack of respect they had. They ended up replacing the door, but that was it. I was over it. I started to put a list together of houses up for lease so she could start looking for a place. But she didn't seem interested. Later on, I found out that she was actually speaking to my stepson's biological mother, who at the time was very jealous of my partner and I being together and having my stepson full-time, and was trying to come up with ways to try and break my partner and I up. It was the ultimate snake move in my opinion. It didn't work though, and we had to sit her down and confront her about it. Can't really forgive her for it. But still, am I the a-hole for wanting them to move out knowing they kind of had nowhere to go, and it wasn't the kid's fault for anything? Not the a-hole. She is beyond disrespectful. Set a date and tell her that she needs to be out by that date, whether she has somewhere to go or not. She can go live with the mom of the stepson since they are so buddy-buddy. Not the a-hole. Your husband is way out of pocket here. I have a pretty similar situation minus the escalation. We have raised and been parents to my 10-year-old nephew almost since he was born. My sister moved in 3 years ago and was unemployed for about a year and a half. Before she moved in, I made sure that my husband knew that this was a 2 yeses situation. If he wanted her gone, she would be gone. I would be the one to handle any awkward situation or laying down the law with her. And I did. I was the one who sat her down and told her she had a month to find a job and pay rent or leave. It was not okay for your husband to say she gets to stay, even when the main problem was just her being unemployed. It's insane for him to try to force you to live with her now. Hard no. I would say she goes, or I go, except I wouldn't have to because my husband isn't an a-hole and wouldn't make me. Well, the good news, good for sister-in-law that is that she doesn't have to worry about conspiring to break them up. The guy's almost done doing her work for her. Not the a-hole. 1. She's not looking for a job to support her family and help with expenses. 2. She's not helping around the house or at least cleaning up the kids' messes. 3. She brings in even more people, still without helping with rent or chores. 4. She actively tried to sabotage your relationship. Have her pack up right now. She can stay with her good friend, the stepson's bio mom. 60 days if you are generous. 30 days if you want a shield from naysayers. Please look into your area's squatter rights, because 30 is standard for many landlords in my area. Again, do your research. Personally, after the relationship sabotage attempt, 3 days tops. Her poor kids. They're probably sick of her too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not being willing to put my boyfriend on the deed on the new house? So, some background. My boyfriend and I have been together over a year and lived together since the beginning of the year. He doesn't hold down a job for more than a few weeks and has been through like 8 this year already. We are already rocky because of his attitude and not helping with finances when I've told him I need help. Now, I'm looking at selling my house. I got my house in my divorce from my ex-husband and it's paid off. I have primary custody, so he wanted me to keep it. Now, I want something different. And a 3 to 4 bedroom instead of the 2-bedroom I have. I want to buy another house from the proceeds of this one, either through using the money from it as a down or buying straight out. The problem is, boyfriend wants to be on the deed for the other house. He's not helping with bills as it is, and he's not contributing any money to buy the next one. His mother is throwing a fit because I told him it's not happening. I also think that's because she wants to move in and rent a room, which I also said no to due to severe drinking problem. But now he's mad that I said no, and that everyone said I'm being a bad person. Everyone being his mother and friend, who doesn't like me anyway. We're not married and he wants to be someday, but I don't. I've been down that road and I'm not in a hurry to do it again. So I question, am I the a-hole for not being willing to put him on the deed? Edit. Since everyone is asking, I think I needed to hear it from others to make sure I wasn't overreacting. When we got together, he had a stable job that he had had for years and was paying all his bills and seemed stable. The second we moved in together, it changed, and he had to find a different job because I lived an hour and a half away. then just never stayed in them. He lost his car this year because I wouldn't pay for it. I think I just needed to see that I wasn't overreacting because I've been ready to end it for a bit. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You'd be an idiot to put him on the deed. That said, why are you even with this loser? Is the intimacy at least good? Because I am not seeing any redeeming qualities. He's lazy and greedy and selfish and mean. Not the a-hole. Absolutely do not put him on the deed. He wants to just be given half of your house that you are buying for your family? WTF? Definitely not the a-hole. You've only been dating a year. Think hard about what he is asking of you, and if you're prepared for his expectations from you in the future of this relationship. Not the a-hole. However, I think you should check into common law property laws before you do this. If he starts living with you in the house after you purchase it for many years, he could be entitled to it if you all ever break up. Be careful. He sounds shady. He's already mooching off you, so he will definitely try to take you to the cleaners if you ever try to kick him out. Didn't even think about this. You seem to be making really bad decisions regarding significant others. Use the move to the new house as a way to get this man out of your house. Stop financially supporting a grown man. That's money you're taking from your children and giving to him, either directly or indirectly. You should get some therapy. But until then, a hard boundary should be no moving anyone into your house. Around the 1-year mark is when responsible adults introduce their partner to their kids. There's no way in hell you should be living together. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my daughter's plane ticket, but paying for my youngest daughter who this vacation is dedicated to? Hello all. I have 2 daughters named Kate, 23 female, and Alexa, 16 female. For starters, Kate lives with me rent-free and bill-free. She used to live with her mom full-time, but her mom kicked her out at 18. I don't blame her mother though. Kate was absolutely terrible in her teenage years. She was rude, disrespectful, and would steal, smoke, skip class, etc. Kate barely finished high school and was put in a continuation school. Since this though, Kate is doing a lot better. She didn't want to go to college, but she works at a fast food restaurant and is saving up for her own apartment. Alexa, on the other hand, is the opposite. She's amazing in school, works, volunteers, and still has time to do sports and clubs. I'm extremely proud of her and feel as if she puts too much pressure on herself. Me and my girlfriend decided to surprise her on a vacation. Alexa has always wanted to go there, and it wasn't as pricey as we expected. We planned this in early October. I told Kate about the vacation and asked if she wanted to come, but she would have to pay her own ticket. She said yes and would give me the money before Halloween. Well, she never gave me the money, even after being reminded, so I booked the trip November 1st for the 18th to 21st of November. I told my daughter this Sunday at dinner and she was very excited. Kate then said, "You'll have to cancel and hope they refund. I work those days." I told her she wasn't coming since she didn't pay. She was confused and thought I was paying for her. I told her that she was an adult who worked and lived free. Why would I pay? She got upset and said, because I'm her daughter, and that I was paying for Alexa, so why not her? An argument then ensued, which resulted in Alexa and Kate crying, with Kate saying she hated me. Kate has been ignoring us until we apologize and pay her ticket, which I won't. Well, yesterday Alexa sent me a link to a video on TikTok where it shows Kate crying and explaining the situation, but she lied about a lot of things in the videos and made Alexa and I look like bad guys. The video got a lot of attention and support. She even opened up a GoFundMe where she received close to $500. I showed my girlfriend and we were both livid. Alexa was also very upset about the comments, which fueled my anger. When she came home, a huge argument broke out and I basically kicked her out for the week. She's been posting on social media platforms since, talking about me, my daughter, and girlfriend. My daughter even got some nasty messages on her social media. My girlfriend told me I'm right on this, but my daughter told me to just pay for her ticket. I want to know if I'm doing the right decision, so help. Not a hole. One daughter is over 18 and has a job. The other is under 18 and in school. It is entirely reasonable to expect one to be able to pay her own way, while paying for the one who hasn't had any opportunity to make money for herself. The fact that Kate is willing to lie about you and her sister on the internet for sympathy and money should tell you something about her character. You could even report the GoFundMe as being fraudulent. Yes, please do report her to GoFundMe. She should not profit from this. Kinda think everyone sucks here. Her reaction is pretty bad, but it kinda seems like you're stacking the deck against her for past behavior a bit when they're both your daughters. Mentioning about how Kate was absolutely terrible as a child, even though you admit she's doing way better now, while being extremely proud of Alexa when that's not really relevant to the story is a pretty big tell. I'd be pretty upset too if I felt like my parents were totally favoring my younger sibling. Also, while sure 23 is an adult, it's hardly some unusual event for a 23-year-old to still be living at home while they save up for their own place. It's nice that you're letting her live there rent-free, but she's not some random tenant. She's a part of your family, and probably, and I would say rightfully, feels incredibly hurt that you're all going on vacation without her. You're obviously within your rights to say she has to pay her own way, and her reaction is immature, but you might want to look in the mirror a little bit as to why her reaction is what it is. Even if Opie looks down on Kate for being a former problem child, how does that change the fact Kate initially agreed to pay for her own ticket? It doesn't. That's why everyone sucks here. Her actions aren't right either. She is an adult who is acting like a child. Roasting your family on TikTok is hardly a bastion of maturity. And if she said she'd pay, so be it. But there's clearly bigger issues here with communication. Maybe it's just part of Opie making the case for why they're not the a-hole, but I also really think the description of the problem child versus the little angel who can do no wrong is discomforting too. It's just totally irrelevant to the story. If your argument is she's an adult, she should pay her own way, that's fine. But how they acted as a teenager shouldn't matter. But it really seems like it does. And it seems like that colors the whole story.